actually really sunny in some parts, but super cloudy in others. They say it's supposed to rain actually on Monday. Guess we'll see. And what's going on today? I guess this was kind of interesting, and you'd kind of expect this to happen in the near future, in the US anyways. With all that talk about things like remote ID and stuff like that, more companies trying to implement solutions to detect drones. This one here says, Broomfield company testing technology to detect rogue drones. So first it dives into how usually when people think there's a drone around the area, they have to hear the buzzing sounds to see where it is and then guess where the operator is, whereas here they're testing out various solutions to actually detect exactly where the operator is. At the same time, it's for reasons such as wildfire, and they go into points like here saying how if there's helicopters in the air, their kind of procedure is land everything immediately until you find the drone and so forth. It says the large air tankers that deliver retardants, they have to be set down. All the helicopters that deliver crews and cargo loads, they have to be shut down. So everything gets shut down until that drone is either no longer a threat or it's been removed from that area, and that could take up a whole day. The Federal Aviation Administration tracks reports of unauthorized or rogue drones. Since 2020, 147 rogue drones have been reported in Colorado. And it makes me wonder if that's an overreaction again, where you see the drone then immediately land everything, because you don't do that normally. Even if there's like say huge birds or something in the area, you don't immediately just stop everything. So it makes you wonder if it's an overreaction in that sense. By the sounds of it, it's not just company using things, for example, like DJI's Aeroscope. They're actually trying to create their own solutions, and here's where things like the remote ID comes in place. It says, we make receivers to detect remote ID, the height of the drone, the speed of the drone, heading, as well as the location of the pilot, said David Burrett, owner of UAS Sentry. Burrett and his company in Broomfield are developing technology to detect drones in real time, including the location of the pilot. When this device detected the drone, it sent me the information to the iPad, which then displayed it on the map. Burrett demonstrated, before now it was very difficult to find the pilot, so now they can find the pilot. This technology is going to be able for us to detect drones within a fire traffic area and use that information to contact that pilot, Singer said. Most of the time, they're clueless or careless. They're not trying to do it for criminal activities. They're just doing it because they don't know any better. So it makes me wonder what they're proposing there in terms of, quote, contacting the pilot. Are they going to have everybody's numbers, for example, where if they detect, hey, this drone is registered to you, they're going to buzz them and all that? And with that point too, where most people are just using it because they don't know any better per se, imagine that in a wildfire where in a lot of places you have to stay away so far, like maybe like what, 5 to 10 kilometers away. So imagine somebody flying literally like 4 kilometers away from the wildfire area, and then this thing bumps up or something like that. Oh, report the guy or something like that. Like, that's kind of crazy in my opinion. I can see if they're actually in the operation and all that around the helicopters, literally, yeah. But this might be a little overboard in terms of the fear, and it makes you wonder too, will criminals be able to use stuff like this too, just to essentially mug people? Oh, someone's flying their expensive drone around here. Oh, interesting. Let's pay a visit to this area exactly. What are the safeguards actually to stop stuff like that? And I was reading this, which relates to that story, how here in Canada, platforms, for example, like Meta, which owns companies like Facebook and Instagram and Google, they're going to start banning media links just because of the new law here. And what the government is going to do in a lot of cases, and here they say they're going to pull their advertising, I guess as a way to say, hey, you're not going to do this, we're going to take away your money. This one says, BC government drops Facebook, Instagram advertising over Meta's news block. Premier David Eby called Meta's decision to cut off news access for many people in British Columbia who use the social media site is unacceptable. BC's move comes after the federal and Quebec governments suspended advertising on the Meta platforms on July 5th in response to the tech giant's announcement that it would block Canadian news on its platform in response to the new Federal Online News Act, which became law on June 22nd. Local media creates much of the content that tech giants have relied on to build their business models, and many British Columbians now rely on social media to get their news, Eby said. Meta's decision to cut off that access is totally unacceptable. Although according to this too, they're not completely stopping advertisements, because it says here, the statement said BC will only advertise on Meta to provide the public with critical information related to the public health and safety emergencies, including wildfire information. Meta did not immediately respond to the request for comment. Funny enough, my first thought here was, okay, why are you spending tax money, for example, on advertisements on these platforms in general? What a waste of money, isn't it, in my opinion? Shouldn't you just be creating your own platforms, for example, your notices for people to actually get information than paying whatever it is, millions of dollars a year or something like that in advertising to tell people this information? Or at worst, imagine spending all that money just to promote whatever it is you think is great. Like, hey, I did a good job today. I'm gonna advertise the fact so that you guys know I did this job. I would say again, hey, if you did such a good job, you shouldn't have to advertise it in general, right? And then I read this, which was kind of interesting with all that topic about AI recently and who owns rights to what. This was kind of fascinating as apparently there was this commercial for Volkswagen and it featured a now deceased singer. Apparently it was this person here, Elis Regina from Brazil before, and they used her in this, I guess, video just singing a song and so forth. Some people thought it was fantastic, for example, it's very nostalgic, whereas others thought it was wrong, I guess. So like this article here says Volkswagen uses AI to resurrect the late Brazilian singer. The famous Brazilian singer Elis Regina Carvalho Costa, known professionally as Elis Regina, passed away on 1982. She lives on via artificial intelligence in Volkswagen's new advertisement commemorating the company's 70 years in Brazil. In the ad, she shares a duet with her daughter, Maria Rita, who is also a popular singer. Though Rita is very much still alive and physically present in the ad, the depiction of her mother is the product of a body double with a recreation of Regina's face digitally grafted on top. Some appear to appreciate the nostalgic callback to the deceased singer, such as the First Lady of Brazil. With that said, there are some who aren't happy about it. It's kind of interesting with the reasons. Like here it says, however, not everyone was happy with the advertisement. Given that Regina was against Brazil's 1964-85 military government and Volkswagen collaborated with that very same regime, many on social media sounded off to highlight the ethical quandaries of using AI to artificially resuscitate a deceased singer for the purpose of a company she had political differences with. And then apparently the company responded by saying its whole intent was just to create a unique moment, something like nostalgic, for example. But what would you think here? Is this an okay use of, quote, AI in terms of people's likeness and all that too? The other story I read before comes to mind where it was something like the actor Bruce Willis, who's still living, actually sold his likeness rights to some company where they could actually use his face and stuff in various commercials. So it makes you wonder if that will be the future, where people say, okay, you can use my likeness for this, but here's the contract, you'll have to pay me X amount of dollars every time I'm used here. And maybe like this situation here with the conflict saying it cannot be used for these types of contents. Just in general, again, would you be okay with stuff like this? That duck has like a, what is it, like a plastic ring on it seems like? Makes you wonder, should you try catching that duck so you could actually cut that little piece of plastic off? Because that probably will be bad as it grows even bigger. Alright, see you guys later.